Hello everybody out there in Flosstube world. This is Vicki, aka the Virginia Stitcher, coming to you with my latest video. The last time I checked in with you guys was the very beginning of the year. I think it was January 5th. So it's been about 3 months. Today is April 1st of 2024. And I know I took a little bit of a hiatus and needed a bit of a break. I had put the announcement up on like a YouTube message kind of thing, and I know a lot of you saw it. It just basically was saying that I needed a break, and I didn't explain why, and because there wasn't really one particular reason why necessarily. It was a bunch of different things, but some people were assuming it was because my last video I had kind of went on a rant about a comment that I got on my channel, and not only me but other Flosstubers get kind of, I don't know, people think they got to put their kind of negative 2 cents in on things that, why? Just why? So I don't want to go on the rant again. But anyways, that was not the reason. Probably a lot of things. I think the main thing for me was that I know that my personality is kind of it's like an all or nothing kind of thing. So if I'm going to do a Flosstube channel, I want to show you guys lots of content and not just a couple of little things and then just kind of ramble on and leave. So I was putting pressure on myself to get things done. And I'm not getting things done. I'm not getting anything done. And that was the other thing. It's like, okay, well, I'm doing lots of starts because I kind of am all over the place and I want to do a lot of starts because there's so many pretty things. I'm on to the next shiny thing. And so it just got to be where I felt like I was pressuring myself to try to get a lot of content for my channel. And I thought maybe I need to take a break, step back and see where I stand on, I have my little dogs over here on the couch with me, where I stand as far as how I want to do my cross stitching. Like I said, I usually like to stitch what I want when I want. So I don't want to feel the pressure that I got to stitch on a particular thing, that I need to get something finished or anything like that. So I, thought, let me take a break. Let me see how I'm doing. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling and going over and over. This is the first time I do a video since the beginning of the year. So I'm kind of rusty again. Even though I've almost been doing Flosstube videos for 3 years. So, I got little distractions here. So I thought I would get back on here and let you guys know that I have been stitching. I have. I've also delved into knitting. I've knitted before. I kind of was a self-taught knitter. Never had any classes or anything like that. Anybody show me how to actually do anything. I just kind of taught myself how to knit and purl. And I could do very, very basic knitting. So I really wasn't into it because I didn't know really what I was doing. So I took a class in January, my first knitting class. So at the end of my video, I will show you the knitting. So those of you that are interested in that can stay tuned and continue watching on. And I'll let you know when I'm done with my cross stitch updating. And then if you're not interested in knitting at all, you can skip on to the next video or do your next thing. So with all that said, I have a lot. Where did I put my notes? I bet I didn't bring them over here. Did I? No, they're on the other table. Just a second. I think I could reach it real quick. So sorry about that. I think I'm ready, and because I've got a stack, a big stack, and that's what I wanted to look at my notes. I kind of was looking through what I've stitched on in January, February, and March. Stay. And I counted up that I have, I had announced at the beginning of the year that I wanted to do, this year's my 60, I'll be 62 this year. In fact, I'll be 62 this month in April 17th. So I wanted to start 62 new starts for my 62nd birthday, and I was born in 1962. So I thought that would be really cool to do. And then after this year, I said, you know what? I probably will start doing more focus on whips kind of years. and really slow down my starts because I'm going to have plenty to work on probably for the rest of my life. But new things come out, and I know I'm not going to not start anything new, but I probably will slow my roll quite a bit. So I wanted to tell you guys, I'm looking down at my notes, sorry about that I have actually started 15 new starts in the last 3 months. So that averages as 5 a month, which 5 a month times 12 months is 60, and then 2 extra. So I'm kind of on track. I'm right on track with my new starts. And I worked on 13 whips, 13 works in progress that I already had started before the beginning of the year. So I wanted to show you this pile over here. But before I get really started, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you guys for supporting me. I want to thank you guys for all of the encouragement that you give me. I want to thank you for just being the wonderful people that you are and the support that you are. People supporting people, whether it's women supporting women, people just supporting people, period, is important. It just really is. It's what we're called here to do. We're not here to, I don't want to spread hate. I don't want hate spread on my channel. I don't want hate spread anywhere. Now I got a little one over here. This is Maya. This is my oldest. She's a Maltese Yorkie. She is 12. She'll be 13 this summer. So she's over here trying to find some place to get comfortable. I think she wants to go sit over here, but she can't because there's a pile of stuff. Because usually she likes this side of the couch. So she's wondering how she can get over there. But let's see if we can get her to say hello. She's like, yeah, I don't think so. So, like I said, she's a Maltese Yorkie mix. And she's the sweet, cuddly, kind of laid back kind of girl, aren't you? She's more my husband's dog. She loves her daddy. She will sit with him every day, but he's not home right now. So she's decided that she'll go ahead and spend time with me. Normally, if he's home, that's where she is. She's with him. But then I'm second best. I say I'm the spare human. And then I have Molly over here, who's the younger one. Come here, Malls. Come here, baby. Just going to say hello. She's like, I'm just getting comfortable. I'm going to take a nap. This one's Molly. She is 8. She will be 9 in September. So she's also a Maltese and Yorkie mix. But they're not from the same litter because I adopted them at different times. At different places. So she's decided, nah, I don't want to. She's the one that will hang out with me. She will sit with me while I'm cross-stitching. My chair that I cross-stitch in, I have a ottoman, and a lot of times she'll get on the ottoman between my legs, and she'll just sit there curled up in a ball because my chair is kind of small and she can't really fit there with me in my cross-stitch. Yes, I know, I'm talking about you. But she's the one that'll follow me around, and then this one follows her daddy around. So she decided she's going to wedge herself between me and my cross stitch. And I'm going to take this blanket that you were laying on, and I'm going to put it right here because I have to have somewhere to throw all my cross stitch. So I told you I had 15 new starts. One of those new starts I finished. I have a start and a finish. I started this one in February, and I finished it in February because this was a Valentine piece. And this one is Be Mine Always by Scissortail Designs. It's just a small one. Don't get too excited. I started all these big projects. Those are the ones I can't get finished. But I can finish these small ones. This one's called Be Mine Always. Whoops, that was the little chart they gave you. And see, this one said 2021 on it. I put the year my husband and I were married. So I did this one on a piece of ivory, probably 32 count Lagana, with just a red floss I had in my stash. And I put the year we were married. So this year will be 10 years in June. So I still need to finish this into a pillow. But by the time I think I finished this either on Valentine's Day or a couple of days before or something. And I thought, there's no way I'm going to have time to even get this finished to put it out and display it for Valentine's. So maybe next year. Finishing is not my favorite thing, I guess, because I don't feel like I'm proficient at it. And I'm not real sure what to do with the pieces for sure. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to make this into a pillow, and probably something like they did here, where they added a piece of fabric and made kind of a long pillow out of it. That's probably what I'm going to do. Anyways, so that's my first finish for the year for 2024. So I have one finish and 15 starts. Am I ever going to get my stash completely finished? I doubt it. I always sit there and I say I'm going to pass away one day and my family's going to go through all my stuff and say, what was she thinking? So, woo, I think it slid across the table and went on the floor. So that was my first new start that I'm going to show you. My new start. This pile is kind of random. It's not set up with all the new starts first or anything like that. They're kind of mixed in. So I will let you know the ones that are new starts when we get to them and which ones are whips. Now this one was my New Year new start for 2024. So this is another new start for this year. And this one I started with my friends Paula and Cindy. And I'm going to see if I don't need to take this out of the plastic. And this one is called This Is the Day by Plum Street Samplers. And if you notice, their fabric that they stitched it on is kind of a tan fabric. I'm not sure what the color is. It is Barb's Blend by R&R. I don't know. It just says 36 count Barb's Blend. But I decided I wanted to do mine on a blue piece of fabric. So I pulled up a piece of Glacier that I had in my stash. And this is I think it's a 32 count. Let's see, what is this one? Nope, it's a 28 count Lugana in the color Glacier by Picture This Plus. And this is how far I am on it. So I've been working on that house. I came over here and I did a left-hand corner start. If you notice, my border is a little bit different because the border here that they have is a blue and a dark color. So I don't know, but the blue wouldn't show up on mine because of the blue fabric. But I wanted a different color because I wanted the goats to really show up. So I have my first goat or ram, I'm not sure which that is. And then I started the flowers here that are in the flower pot. And then I did this smoke and worked my way over and got over to the house. So when I did my Flosstube video on January 4th, I showed you my start of this, but I don't know if I had hardly anything done on the house. So this is how far I was able to get on the house. So I worked a little bit more since January 4th on this and was working a lot more on the house over there. Because I did when I did the smoke, I was able to get over here and start doing construction on that house. Hopefully you can see it because I'm behind the fabric. And the colors that I switched out here for that, did I write those down? I usually do. I don't know what did I do? Because I don't seem like I wrote a note. Oh yeah, I did. The border I decided to do in Brethren Blue and Ecru. Since my piece is, instead of using hickory sticks, I'm using Ecru, by DMC. And hickory sticks is the dark brown color. So my border is going to look quite a bit different. But otherwise, I think everything else is pretty much the called fors. And Brethren Blue, I switched in for Mint Julep by Classic Color Works. And I'm doing Brethren Blue by Gentle Arts. So these are my border colors right here. So that's what I changed on this one because of my color change. Because I picked a different colorway for my fabric. So that was the second start for this year. Or well, it was my first start. The second start I'm showing you. Loving it on this blue. I just wanted it on blue. I don't know why. When I saw it, I pictured it on blue. And then I thought, oh, and then blue will help the goat show up. But then when I got ready to start it, I said, wait a minute, then my border's not going to show up very well. So I had to do something a little bit different there. Stick it down in here. So I'm just going to take off the top of this pile over here and then try to set this stuff over here somewhere. I have 2 dogs sitting over here now because I guess she decided that it wasn't working sitting over on this side because I think my stash was falling on her, my pile of stuff. The next one that I have to show to you is what I call an ancient whip. I have been stitching since the 80s, and then I think I stitched until the early 2000s, and then I took a break for maybe about 10 years, and had some things that I had started back in like the 1990s or the 2000, like 2001, 2002, and things like that, but they then didn't get finished. And so I call those my ancient whips, the ones that I kept, that I thought I still would like to finish at some point. Some of them I got rid of because I thought they're not my aesthetic anymore. If you could think of the aesthetic of the 1990s, the geese, the teddy bears, things like that, I was like, I'm not going to finish them because I don't know what I would do with them when I did finish them. So I picked up, all that to be said, I picked up this ancient whip that was from a magazine. And this was from Cross Stitch and Country Crafts, January, February of 1996 edition. And this is a snowman. Now they show the snowman on a sweater, but I was starting this snowman here. I had started him, and I was doing him on a dark navy blue piece of Aida, probably 18 count Aida. And I had quite a bit done on him. So I picked him up and I was working on him for, I don't know, 2 or 3 days. But it was slow going because what I was doing was a lot of Kreinik work. I was working down in here. I went across. I worked some more over here. I still need to fill in all of that Kreinik. I don't know if you could see the sparkle in there. But it's a Kreinik blended with a DMC thread. These are DMCs with Kreiniks. So I still need to fill in some more up in here. And I think there's 2 more blocks like that up here. And then he'll be done. But the Kreinik blend was just being a slow go for me. Plus, I think the darker fabric. Because I have, what was that, maybe 30 years ago I was stitching this. So I have 30-year-old older eyes than I did then. My eyes are, I was probably in my 30s when I started this, and now I'm in my 60s. So there's a little bit of a difference in the way my eyes are functioning with this dark fabric. But since he does not have much to go, I figure if I keep plugging away on him, I could get him done because he really doesn't have a whole lot more. It's just that I'm struggling with the Kreiniks, and these are my 2 Kreiniks. This darker blue color, and then this one's more like a, this one down here, kind of holographic looking. It's called like a blending filament type. And I think that one's blended with the white to give the white sparkle in there. So I worked a little bit on this one. Like I said, I was struggling. I think I need to do it when my eyes aren't tired. And plus the Kreinik was being a pain in that rough Aida. So that's a stiffer Aida. And the Kreinik, they didn't want to agree with each other. So this next piece, I think I started this one in January. Oh my gosh, excuse me, my stuff is falling on the floor because I have too much here. That's what I get for waiting so long. This next piece, I feel like I'm all over the place too. I'm sorry. I really apologize for that. There's another, well, this was actually a restart. I had started this one and was using a piece of thread that I was just not kind of feeling. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm liking this that much. So I kind of quit on it and sat there on a back burner for a good while. So this year I picked it up. I was actually watching Brenda, Handwork Maniac on YouTube, on Flosstube. And she was showing some of her stuff that she was working on. And this was a video of hers in January because I restarted this in January with a different floss color. she was showing her modern, it's not this piece, because she is working on this one. Let me show you what the piece is. It's GGR's. This is Les Belles Lettres de Gigi V. So the letter V for Vicky. And Brenda is working on one that's the letter B for Brenda, but that's not the piece she's using this color on. It was Modern Folk Embroideries coverlet thing, something. I loved the color of the floss that she was using. It was absolutely gorgeous. So I thought I need to restitch this since I didn't get very far with that color of thread. So I'm going to show you where I am, and I'm going to show you the thread that I'm using. It's a DMC blended thread, and this is on a, I think this is Silvery Moon Lugana 32 count. And this is how far I got. And this is with the blue variegated DMC. Let's see if I can open this. I picked up a handful of them. Oops, I might have to put this down for a second. I can't open this bag with my hand. It is DMC 121. So it's this variegated DMC color. And the way this works up is just absolutely beautiful, in my opinion. So I was going along and got more done on it than I had when I started it before. I actually have two of the V letters in there, and this corner motif and this little motif and that little motif. But let me see, all I did was flip the fabric around because I think I'm going to have enough fabric. Let me see, is that the front? No, this is the... Hold on for a second. This was my start before. It was kind of a variegated purpley periwinkle kind of color. And I felt like it wasn't showing up all that nice. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it for some reason. You have to feel it to want to stitch on it. And then I switched it to this color, and I love it so much better. Love it, love it, love it. Now this is a rather large piece. I think this is a fat half of fabric. And sometimes people ask me, how do you work with your large pieces? Well, this is an 11 by 17 Q-snap. It's actually an off brand of a Q-snap. It's not the Q-snap brand. I bought this at Hobby Lobby years ago. So when I'm working on it, I usually will take and double up my fabric. So I will take, I'm working up in the corner here, because this is the very top left-hand corner. So I will usually just take the piece of fabric here to the edge and to the edge. And because this is the very edge of the fabric here, it ends just right there. I'll sometimes take a piece of felt that I've cut into strips and put them in there just to make sure that it's holding it nice and tight, because I like mine drum tight. And then when I put it in, I start off with one of the long sides. I put the one short end in the Q-snap. Then I take the bottom of the fabric, because it would hang down to here, fold it up and stick the edge of it in there. And then that makes it only half of the length of fabric that's hanging down now. And then I did the same thing on the other side. I folded it in half. So now I only have this much flapping out on the side. And then on these large pieces like this, on my 11 by 17 Q-snaps, I put them in my Lowry floor stand and work on them here in my craft room. So that's how I manage my bigger pieces. I know I've had people ask me before, and loving this 121 DMC. Loving this color. Loving it. One more look. One more look. So that was a new start because it was a restart, and I'm counting that as a new start because I've started all over again. So it's new again. And that's start number 3 for the year, or a third one I'm showing you. I don't remember. I think I started it in January because it's been a little while since I worked on this one. So many projects to work on, so little time. So let me see. Next piece here that I'm going to show you is a whip. It was something I pulled out and I wanted to work some more on. This is my Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow. It looks like this. And I had already had this block and this block done. And I jumped down and I started working on that block there with the ice skaters. And that's where I was working. Didn't quite get that block finished. A lot of stitching in that little block. I had already gone in and gridded in, put all my outlines of all my blocks on my piece of fabric. And this is a 16 count piece of Aida in the color Lamb's Wool. And I had started this back in July of 2021. I must have did a Christmas in July start on this one. So that means it'll be, what, 3 years old this July? And at this rate, it's going to take me 12 years to finish them because I've only gotten 2 blocks done. Working on the third, in the 3rd year. But this is where I am. So like I said, I was working over here, and you can see that this is all full coverage across the top of this. And I had done some more. Can you see that? Yeah. Done some more around the edges of it a little bit. So the whole thing, here's my other 2 blocks that I started out with this block number 1. I did do that one, then came over and did block number 2. That one took me a while because that's a lot of stitching in that one. And then I started working on the ice skaters. But I have already gridded in my piece of fabric and lean all the way back. So this is how big this piece is going to be when it's finished. Like I said, this is a 16 count Aida in the color Lamb's Wool. And I am using the DMCs, the called for DMCs. She does chart it with NPI silks, but then she has a DMC conversion. So here's where I am again. I did get some of the blue color down here, and I'm using all of the DMCs except for they did have a Threadworks Teal Frost, I think it was called, and I didn't have that one. So I've been using something else. What have I been using? Oh, I was using Aqua Sky mixed with Frost. So I'm doing these 2 colors here, kind of mixed together in different places. So that's why I have a little variegation looking like going on down here. I don't know if you can see that. So, yep. Do you want down? Do you want down? The older one, she doesn't like to jump down because I have, she doesn't feel secure footed unless there's carpet. And the rug I have in here, there's no carpet in here, but the rug I have in here is a little bit of a distance away from the couch. And she's standing there like she wants to get down, but she's afraid to jump. Do you want me to put you down? Do you want to put down? Okay, just a sec. So that was one of the whips that I worked on. What have I shown you? All new starts so far? So that was a whip. Come here, baby. Come here. I'll put you down. Hold on. Let me put you down. There you go. She gets nervous. Wait, do you want back up? Well, you're not getting back up. You can stay down there. Okay, so, and like I said, I had done 15 new starts and I'd worked on 13 previous works in progress whips. I want to try to work on just as many whips as I do new starts, because just because I'm starting a lot of new starts doesn't mean I want to neglect working on stuff I've already got going. So I've told myself I want to try to work on just about as many, which I didn't quite, but it's close. I want to try to do a little bit better of working on stuff I already have in the works, because there's so many that I want to. I'm looking over at all my, I have cubbies against the wall over here, and they're full of all of my project bags, full of all my whips. So this one was a whip. Something I already had started, and this is by the sampler company, Brenda Keys. This one is called the Humility Sampler. You want to see this one finished? You should check out Stitching Faye. Heidi, she's Stitching Faye on YouTube. She finished this a little while back. You'd have to go back a few videos to see her finish on this. This is gorgeous. And I am stitching this on. When I picked this, I actually worked a bit on this one. And I'm not doing just a kind of an off-white. I think they're using antique white or something here. Instead, I'm using a, looks like is it a 32 count? 32 count Lagana in the color Terrific by Fortnite Fabrics. I'm using all of the called for DMCs. I put it on the card that they provide. So, and I just wrapped the DMCs around it, but they're in the holes. So I'm using all the called for DMCs. 32 count Lagana in the color Terrific, which is a light springy green, like a celery green color. Because the house is kind of a creamy colored house. And this is how far I am on this one. So I started down here in the bottom left-hand corner because I wanted to get up to the house. The top is all of the alphabet, and I didn't feel like working on the alphabet when I started this. I wanted to get to the house. I could have got to the house either direction, but I decided to start down here. Did a little bit of the border, got to this tree, worked up. I had a little bit of this in, and this tree in the border, but I came in and I did all of the rest of this and all of this house and started on a tree over here. So I got quite a bit in this time. I've been negligent in telling you, I know a lot of people ask me how many threads I use. This is a 32 count. Usually I either stitch on a 32 or 28 count Lagana or linen most of the time, or 16 count Aida. And when I do those counts, to me, I like the coverage of 2 threads. So this is stitched with 2 threads of DMC, it's 2 over 2, 32 count Lagana. And I started the word let, because, is that what it is? Let? Yeah. Because this says, it's called Sweet Humility, and it says, let me also learn to grow in sweet humility. Love it. And it's hard to tell that this is a light green, kind of maybe on the just showing it because it's such a light color. But if I put it against this white board, you're going to see the color. So that's what the color looks like there. So I worked on this for probably, I don't know, close to a week, probably. A good while. Because I also think I went in and I did some more of the border. I think I just had the outline. So I started coming in and filling in flowers across here also. Because I think all I had was just a little bit of this zigzaggy, you know, just the outline of the border and this tree. And I had started this little girl and a little bit of this pathway before I picked it up this time. I was just really enjoying this. And like I said, I stitch what I want when I want, usually. That's how I like to stitch. It's my hobby, and I like to stitch on what I'm feeling at the moment. And if I'm loving it, I continue stitching, and don't like to switch. I feel I'm getting fuzz or something. Sorry. Flosstube, itchy nose, I guess. So sometimes I might stitch on something for a couple days. Sometimes I might stitch on something for a whole week, 10 days. Just depends. The next piece is a new start. I think I started this probably in January because this is a wintry piece. I think by the end of January, I was kind of done with winter. So I didn't get very far on this because I was like, I'm kind of done with stitching snow and white stuff. This is called Winter Snowfall by Shannon Christine Designs. I am stitching this on a piece of 32 count Vintage Stormy Night, and I'm using, is it Vintage Stormy Night? Nope, I'm wrong. This is a restart because I had started on Vintage Stormy Night and changed my mind and wanted the white to pop more. So this is a piece of 32 count Lagana in the color Cobblestone, which is a very dark kind of taupey gray color, like a brownish gray. And that's how far I got. Not very far, but look at that white popping on this fabric. Love it. And then these are the color blues I picked out to work on this one with, because she gives you lots of options of blues and purples and turquoise and different colors to do this, different versions. So I just picked out these colors right here, and they are, where are my flosses? 3760 and 3761, and I'm using B5200 for the white. So these are all DMCs. These are my colors. So like I said, 3760 and 3761 with the B5200. I thought these colors on this fabric, love. But like I said, by the time I got into January, the end of January, I was sick of stitching white stuff. It's just like in Halloween, you know, in September and October and stuff like that, I get tired after a while stitching with black, because there's a lot of black in Halloween stitching, a lot of white in winter stitching, and then I get tired of it after a while. But I think the piece is gorgeous. I've thought about making this like every time it snows, stitch on it. But if I did that, I wouldn't have stitched on it at all this winter, because I don't think we got any snow, no measurable snow. I think we had a dusting one day that melted by the afternoon. And that was at Christmas. That was last year. So it was in December. And then I don't think we got anything else the rest of the winter. Nothing. So some people say make it a precipitation piece. Maybe a winter precipitation piece, because we've been getting a lot of rain lately because it's spring, but I don't want to be working on that winter piece right now. So that was a new start, or a new restart. And this one is a whip, a work in progress. This is something that I started, oh gosh, when did I start this? I wrote it down. I started this back on June 1st of 2022. I started this with Lindsay from Blushing Pink Stitches on Flosstube. It's by Cottage Garden Samplings, and it's called Forever and Ever. And I had seen Lori Schickalone with, she's Once Upon a Stitch on Flosstube. I saw her stitching on this and then finish this, and sometimes it's displayed on her wall. I don't think it's behind her right now, but sometimes she has this one displayed. And I thought, how beautiful is that piece? And Lindsay and I got together and decided to start this one. So I started it back in June of 2022, and then I hadn't touched it in forever. And I thought, it's time for this piece to get out and get some love, because like I said, I want to work on stuff I have. I'm doing the DMC conversion of it, and she's doing the overdyes. Like I said, that's Lindsay from Blushing Pink Stitches. So mine are all the DMCs. And you can see the beautiful pinks and greens going on in here. I am stitching this on a piece of 28 count Lagana in the color Springfield Sage. And before I pick this up, let me show you where I am. I don't think I need all of this fabric, but I just haven't cut it yet. So let me fold it in half real quick. And there I am. I had started this flower when I started it on my start, and I think I worked on it a little bit, maybe one other time. And I probably had about half of the flower filled in, and I think I had these, at least one of these, maybe just this leaf done. So I came in and I finished filling in all of this flower, this whitish flower, did this leaf, started this little branch that goes across, and started on the pink flower, because the pink one is outlined with like red, but it actually has a lot of pink colors in it. So I didn't get around to that, but that I got a lot done. I worked on this one for quite a while. So Lindsay, if you're watching, I did a little bit on it, finally. I kept telling her, she was showing hers on her channel, and I said, hers is coming out so pretty. And I think she's quite a bit farther than I am. I don't think she's gotten to the birds yet. I don't think so. But maybe she has. I'll have to watch again. But mine sat there stalled for the longest time. So I'm working on it. I got some more on it, and it's going to be gorgeous when it's finished. I love it. I think it's really pretty. It is quite a bit bigger than it looks like by the photo. When you're looking at this, you think, oh, that's a small piece. That won't take long. But it actually is a quite large piece. I don't have it folded where I can see the dimensions. But as you can see by the 2 flowers that I have stitched, it's not tiny. It's not, that's just 2 of the flowers in it. I still have to work my way down to the cardinals that are on here. So that was another whip that I had worked on. I think I was working on this one in February because I thought, love, February, cardinals, all that kind of stuff. I thought, how gorgeous. And then I pulled up one of my lavender and lace pieces. So this is another whip, something that I've been working on for a little while. And this one is Angel of Grace. This is what she looks like. This photo is a little bit washed out. It's not quite true to color there. I'm stitching mine on a piece of 16 count Aida in the color Milk Chocolate with all the called for colors, which are all DMCs. Some of the older, like the lavender and lace, like this one does not have, I don't think this one has any beads. And I don't even think it has cryneck. No, it has a gold metallic though. And that's it. Just a gold metallic. And that's just for the edges of her dress and her cape. I think that just runs along, just along the edge, kind of right in here. So all the rest of it is just all DMC. And the only fractional stitches, oh shoot, I have to take this one out of the Q-snap. Usually I don't take them out of the Q-snap if you can see the whole part of it, but I will take it out of the Q-snap, and this one's in here tight because this is a nice stiff Aida, and these stiffer Aidas are thicker pieces of material. And like I said, I fold it over so it's in there nice and tight. Let me take it off real quick for you. I'll take the needle minder off. Sorry about that. Hold on. I didn't want this video to be too long, but I have a feeling this thing's going to be 2 hours long because we're already 40-something minutes in, and I'm not even halfway through showing you what I've been working on because I blah, blah, blah. Oh, I didn't have that much that was hiding. But anyways, here we go. So when I had started, I kind of did a center start, and I started in the center of her gown, which is mostly white. It has some pink, shadowy areas, really light pink. And then the pink ribbon, and this is her cape, part of her dress. So when I was working on this last, I think I was working on down in here, and then I came up and I filled in some of this pink. But that's where I am on Angel of Grace by Lavender and Lace. So it doesn't look like an angel yet, but if you can imagine the bottom of her cape. Where in the world? Sorry about that. My dogs are barking at something. What do I do with it? Hello. Well, here we go. So I'm working down in here. This is kind of where I've been. Isn't she pretty? So some of these older, and Lavender and Lace was, it was designed by Marilyn Levitt Emblem. She has passed away. She passed away a few years back. Her daughter is Nora Corbett. And Nora Corbett, of course, designs for Nora Corbett and Mirabilia. So she learned from her mother, I am sure, and does a lot of the beautiful fancy ladies. In fact, the next one I'm going to show you is a Mirabilia that I started. So these older lavender and lace don't have the beads and things in them. Then she started kind of breaking out and venturing more into beadwork and things. Let me see if I can get that frame out of my way. Okay, so this next one is a Mirabilia. So this one was designed by her daughter. Just a little trivia. I'm sure a lot of people know that, but I know some people don't. And so this is another little fancy lady. And this shaky part is her treasure beads that I have for her. And this one is called Cinderella. And I had a piece of fabric that I thought, oh, she's going to be gorgeous on, that I ordered in. And I ordered it for a different project. Can't remember off the top of my head what project it was. But it didn't quite look like it would work as well. And then I thought, wait a minute, I have Cinderella in my stash. And she will go beautiful on that piece of fabric. So that's why this new start happened. Because I got a piece of fabric in that I just needed to put her on. And I started up here in the upper left-hand corner, and I've been just working on, trying to start working on this castle and stuff. So I did some of the border and some of the green and stuff around here, and trying to get to the castle in that background. And like I said, I have her treasure beads in here. She has quite a few treasures on her. And what am I stitching this? This is, I think, not Mercedes. What is this one? This is by Picture This Plus. Do I still have the tag on it, maybe? I didn't get very, very far, because then I squirreled onto something else, but... Oh, what am I stitching this one on? Did I put it here? Usually I keep the tag from the fabric so that I know what I'm stitching. Oh, shoot. Oh, here it is. Yes, it is 28 count Lugana in the color Diomacel by Picture This Plus, which is a very, oh, that's the back side. Hold on. I gotta learn how to do these videos all over again. Diomacel has a lot of pretty pastel colors. And here's where I am. So like I said, I was doing the border across the top. Came down and I was, is that the right order? Nope, it goes this direction. Doing the border down the side. Then I came in and I tried to start working in all these trees and bushes that lead up, because the castle will start kind of right in here. Then there's a castle, and then I can get to the edge of her dress and start on her. Because her dress flows out and it kind of comes right up there. So once I do all of this castle and everything, I'm thinking I can get into the bottom of her dress. So, nothing exciting to see here. I am using all the called for DMC colors. And I've just got that. So, I think I was getting bored just stitching with the dark greens. Kind of dark mossy green colors. And I thought, I think something else that I wanted to start or do or whatever. I picked it up. So, I will get back to her. But I think she's going to be absolutely gorgeous on this piece of fabric. I had another of this that was smaller, and it was much more kind of very muted in the colors. You could barely see. They were just really light like this here. And when I got this piece in, because I thought, oh, that'll be perfect for that other, I can't even remember what it was I wanted. This one was more heavily modeled. And I thought, I don't think that's going to work. But I think it's going to work for this piece. So, I always don't count it as lost. If I get a piece of fabric in, you know how you order them online sometimes, and you can't actually see the actual piece. That's why I like to buy them when I can see them in person from needlepoint shops or retreats and things like that, trunk shows. Because especially if they're hand-dyed, they can look different from batch to batch in the dyeing process. So sometimes you don't get what you think you were going to get, which is fine because it's going to work for this one. But I ended up having to go with a plan B for the other one. Let's see. Okay, this was a new start. And it's the bag for it. Let's see. What is this one? This one is, where's the picture? By Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. It's Every Opening Flower. A lot of people are working on this one. It is so pretty. And I didn't get very far on this one. So I want to get some more work and love on this one. I am stitching this one. I think it's Winter Woolens by Seraphim. Nope. It's Milk and Honey by Fiber on a Whim. I am completely wrong. Looks like Winter Woolens. Milk and Honey by Fiber on a Whim. And that's how far I got. So I can leave this one in its Q-snap because that's all I did. You can see everything right there. Started in the upper left-hand corner and got started filling in these. The only thing is my color of fabric and the called for, because I think I'm doing all the called for colors. I'm pretty sure. I don't think I switched anything out on this one. But in the middle are eyelet stitches in the middle of each one of these little squares, little diamonds. It's really hard to tell because the color matches. But I stopped. You can tell I stopped right there. So these haven't been done. But it's barely noticeable. In person, you can see it when you look at it. But that's how far I got on Every Opening Flower by Brenda Gervais. And I think this was released last year. I think this was last year's piece. Pretty sure. Well, that's not going to tell me anything because half of the papers are out of the package. But I am working with... Nope, I'm not doing all the called for because I've got... This is a Victorian motto, so I know that's not a called for. But I've got Weeks Dye Works in here and Classic Colorworks, Gentle Arts. For my Weeks Dye Works, I was watching, I love what, I'm subscribed to Two Needles Pulling Thread. It's Missy and Kathy that do their sister-in-laws. And they do that channel. And they've been probably a couple of years, 2, 3 years maybe, doing their channel. They were talking about, they had watched, or they were on a retreat with somebody who had these plastic tabs that they had put on their Weeks Dye Works. Because the only hole you have in your Weeks Dye Works is here, where your thread goes through. Unlike, like Classic Colorworks or Gentle Arts and things, where you have where your thread comes through and where you can put it on a ring. So they had seen that this lady had these little plastic tabs and they asked her all about it. So if you go I watched their channel and I said, oh, amazing, where do you get? You get these tabs you can get them off of Amazon. They're used for, a lot of times for stores when they want to do displays and they want to be able to hang things on pegs. But this size is close to perfect. The width is the width of the Weeks Dye Works card. And all you need to do, though, is trim a little bit off of this bottom edge because it'll cover this hole. So you maybe a 1/4 of an inch off of there and you stick it on. And now my Weeks Dye Works are so much easier to work with on my floss ring. So love, love, love it. So check out Two Needles Pulling Thread if you're interested. If you have not seen them, watch their channel. They're great. And if you're interested in this, Missy actually did like about a 10-minute tutorial on how she actually uses these. It's so simple, so easy. And you can get like 300 of these for very minimal cost. It's not much at all when you figure out how many, it's like pennies to use. So I did that. And I even had to go and thank her. I said, thank you for that video, because I was starting to sometimes go and punch a hole on the side and hang them in here sideways or do different things. But I like that. And I think the pack on her channel, she has a link to the ones that she got off of Amazon. And I think hers is a 300 pack. And I can't remember, and the price always varies on Amazon anyway. Can't remember exactly how much they cost, but for 300 of them, and you can get quite a bit of your Weeks Dye Works, you'll have enough last you for quite a while. So little announcement there. So that's what I've done with my week's dye works. I went through and I was like putting those tabs on there so that I could have a much better experience with them. This next piece is one that I started with Lori Schickalone of Once Upon a Stitch. She had announced on her channel that she wanted to start this piece. And I have it, and I wanted to start it with her. And I told her I wanted to start it. I asked her permission if, and if you haven't checked out Lori with Once Upon a Stitch, you need to. She's got a wonderful, wonderful channel. She stitches on a lot of the same things that I do. Or I stitch on a lot of the same things she does. She's been a Flosstuber for longer than I have. And she was quite an inspiration to me when I first found Flosstube. But she lost a grandbaby this past year, right before the holidays, I believe, maybe November. I can't quite remember when little Libby passed away. But I remember praying for little Libby. When Lori announced on her channel that little Libby had passed away, I literally was crying for her. In fact, I'm tearing up thinking about it now. So I contacted Lori, and I knew that when she started this piece, and this is Angel of Light, that I wanted to start this with her. So I contacted her and I said, Lori, can I start this with you? And can I want to make this a memorial piece for little Libby. And every time I pick it up, I want to be thinking about your family, and I'll be praying for you. And so she said, oh, absolutely. She would be honored that I do that. So I started this with her. I can't remember the date that we started it. I mean, I literally was just crying when she announced it, you know, and I'm tearing up still now. Angel of Light, I started on January 28th with Lori. So she started this on January 28th, and I joined along with her. I am stitching mine. Lori's farther along than I am on this piece. So, and she started up here with the little angel's face, sweet little face. And she's already worked her way down. Gosh, she's probably down in here. So she's gotten quite a bit of this done. I started way over here on the end. I started on this side, on the left side, middle, and kind of just started here, and I've been working up into here. But I didn't get as far as she is. And this is a lavender and lace piece. So a Marilyn Levitt emblem. And I'm stitching mine on a piece of taupe, 32 count Lugana in the color taupe. And sorry about that. Oh, I'm a frail human. Oh, wait a minute. This is another piece that I have for Angel of Freedom. Where is my girl? Oh, she's on her Q-snap still. I was like, wait a minute. I know I started this thing. I even sent a picture to Lori and showed her when I start. What in the world? So it's a piece of taupe, but there is Angel of Freedom. It's kind of her sister chart, and I have it in the bag also. And this is cut for me to go ahead and do her on when I finish Angel of Light. So started this with for little Libby, and it is 32 count Lugana in the color taupe, and this is how far I am on her. So I started here, and I worked my way across and started going up and down and around. And so that's the end of her flowy cape robe part of her dress, and a little bit of this red ribbon. The end of it there. So that's where I got to so far on this one. She is so cute. She is so beautiful. Beautiful little angel girl. So, like I said, if you have not checked out Lori Schickalone, Once Upon a Stitch, you need to check her channel out. She just does such amazing stitching. And I love her channel. Sorry for the crinkling. I'm just going to try to throw everything back in the bag. So, try not to lose everything. Like you can see I already get kind of discombobulated a little bit. Pulling out a piece of fabric, nothing stitched on it. It's like, what? I know I stitched something on it. This next piece was another, so that was a start. This is another start for the year. Is this the one? Because this one is the seasonals. Nope, that's the summer. I started winter. By the Cricut Collection, I started winter back probably in January. Because like I said, I was kind of getting tired of stitching winter stuff by February. So this one is being stitched on a piece of, that I was stitching something else on. Oh, I'm not sure what this is. Oh, here it is. Oh, it's a Jody fabric from Steel City Stitchers. She doesn't name her fabric. They're kind of like one-offs. And I still have a thread hanging here because I was, like I said, I was getting tired of stitching the white stuff. So here I am on winter. I was trying to get it half finished. I figured if I finished all the W, the I, and the N, which I got partway through the N, and I didn't quite finish all of the little doodads that are around it, but then I would just have the T, E, and R. See, there's a big snowman there to fill in. So that was going to be a lot of white. I was just like, yeah, not feeling the white right now. I'm kind of tired of white. So I got that far on this beautiful bluey piece of fabric. And I had started, I think this was the Spring Queen by Mirabilia. I had started her on here. And I didn't like the way it was showing up. So I just cut this piece off of that piece of fabric. And when I go to frame it, this is far enough down. It ends right here. But I didn't want to cut it all the way off so it could fit my Q-snap easier. So I'm just using another piece of fabric here. So I have all 4 of the seasons in this bag, and I wanted to start spring. I have not started spring yet, but that's kind of on my radar. And I already have this piece of green Lugana, 32 count Lugana, to stitch spring on. So that's a thought as to one of my new starts coming up really soon, is to stitch spring. So I have winter, spring, summer, and fall all in here. And I'd already started summer. So they're all in this bag. Okay. The next one, what's this one? Usually I know. Oh, this is my Plymouth Sampler by Brenda Keys. I did the Sweet Humility Sampler, and I'm working on this one by Brenda Keys. And this one's the Plymouth Sampler. This one was inspired to me by Lori Chicalone off of Once Upon a Stitch. She had finished this piece. I was watching along while she was stitching this one and thought, how pretty is it? And it's not a really big sampler, but it is dense. A lot of dense stitching. This is all, the whole border is solidly stitched. This is all solidly stitched, all of this. So I've been working on this on a piece of light blue. It just looks like it's light blue Lugana. I mean, Ada, 16 count Ada. Yeah, ice blue, 16 count Ada. I started this back in February 17th of 2022. I'm using all the called for DMCs. And I pulled this up and I worked quite a bit on it. And I got that far. But you see what I mean about the dense stitching? Oh my. There is a lot of stitching in this thing. Because this is all solid stitch except for one little space right here. A little space between the houses. So this border is taking a lot. So I just kind of chip away at it and work a little bit at it at a time. But I am loving this piece. This is going to be so pretty when it's finished. And like I said, it's an ice blue Ada. Hard to tell that it just looks like it's white. But if I put it against here, you'll see how it's a really light blue. Oh, that's my back. There. It's a really light blue color. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Love it. Love this piece. This one's fun to stitch on. It's really not hard because there's a lot of solid block stitching in it, and it's all just straight up X's. No specialty stitches, no fancy threads. You just can stitch it really easily and fun. Okay, this next one is one that I started with Madeline and Cindy, a couple of friends of mine, but we started it last December, I think, when we got together at Ocean City for our retreat. So, but this is Plum Street Sampler's Spring Moon. So this is not a new start. This was a whip, but I pulled it up and I worked a little bit more on it because I think all I got done when we started it was the moon and maybe a little bit of the leaf here. And that was it. That's all I got done. So I picked it back up. I am stitching this on, oh, what is this? That's the actual chart. That's going to let me know. Oh, here we go. A piece of 32 count Lugana in the color Luna by Lakeside. No, it's not Lugana. It's a linen, 32 count linen by Lakeside Linens in the color Luna. Because it's a linen, it might be a little more see-through. And that's how far I am. Excuse my dangly thread. This here is the roof of the house. And I'm using all of the DMCs for this one. It shows to do it with DMCs and some over-dyed cottons threads, but she gives a conversion to DMC and I'm doing all DMCs. I'm pretty sure. I'll double check because I tell stories. Oh yeah. Yeah, they're all the DMCs. So what I decided to do for the roof though was combine a couple of the brown colors. This one and this one. So I'm combining these two. And I have this loose thread because that's what I was working with. So it's 3371 and, oh, I didn't bring my glasses over here. 3781. So I'm using these two brown colors for the roof of the house. So kind of a tip of something you could do if you felt like it. If you didn't want to do overdyes, but you wanted to kind of have an overdyed look, or say you didn't have it in your stash and you just wanted to kind of work from stash, you could pull a couple of two threads and then work them through your piece to give you the variegated look that you want. So that's what I did here. For the roof, I thought, I don't want it just to be solid. I think it was going to be this solid dark 3371 color. So I wanted to put some of another color in it. So I grabbed this other DMC. And then what I did, that's why it looks kind of funny, is I went with the lighter color and I just kind of randomly stitched it inside. I had outlined my rectangular area, the outsides of the roof. And now I'm going back and I'm filling it in with the dark color so that I have the variegated look without the variegated thread. And it's just something I decided to do for that one. And because the roof is just a rectangle, a straight up rectangle. And I thought with the dark color, I thought, I kind of want it to be variegated for the roof, look more like shingles. Just something I'm doing because, you know, I thought, why not? So just a thought, if you ever felt like you wanted to have some variegation without buying the variegated thread, you could do that. So this next piece, sorry, allergy season, and then I was crying. That doesn't help my throat very much. Okay, oh, this next piece is a whip, work in progress, been a work in progress for a little while. It was something that I had started and then I restarted on a different color Finally liked the color that I was doing it on, but I am doing this one on an 18 count Aida. And I'm doing it with a Silks for You silk variegated thread that I bought from Silks for You from Australia. And I'm using only one floss, one thread over one on 18 count because the silk was a little thicker. So I could get away with using only one thread on 18 count. But because I normally stitch with 2 threads, I kept picking it up and starting to stitch with 2 threads and realize I made a mistake, and then I had to frog it all out. I did that twice. So now maybe I finally have remembered, but I pulled back out Pandemic by Long Dog Samplers. And I started up here in the upper left-hand corner, like twice now. So, and I have frogged a couple, 2, 3 different times. I didn't have to frog this time. I'm doing this on a piece of Color and Cotton Old Stationery, an 18 count Aida. So it is a soft Aida. It's an overdyed Aida. And I am right here. So like I said, this is a Silks for You, and I can get the color out for you in just a second. Let you see where I am, what I've got. I think when I picked this up, I was finishing these and I came down and I did that. So, and this bird down here, I was starting to come down this way because I think I had to fill in this way over here. I filled in that. And this is a Silks for You PR, what? 181. So I get a big hank and cut it in half. And I just work, like here's a big piece of it. So you can see how it goes, the colors kind of variegate through. And I'm working with this bit here, I believe, right now. So I don't have any more. Oh, no. I took and I put a piece of it. I think I'm going to put this in the bag. It looks like it's starting to get a little fuzzy. Yeah, silk floss can be a little more delicate than cotton. So a lot of times I like to keep it in a bag. I think I'm going to put it back in this plastic bag with the rest of this. But then I just pull one strand off of here, work with it, pull one strand off. And then when I get where I need more, I can pull some more from my thing. And I think this is a total 1/2 of the hank along with that. And then I have the other half in here. I just kind of take it, I cut it in half. You know, I found it's a big hank that comes almost like yarn does when you buy yarn in a hank. But I take and I just kind of twist it gently and put it in the bag. And I think I'm going to put and then I thought, let me just put some on a floss drop, a PR 181 from Silks for You. You can order off of her site, silksforyou.net. If you just type in Silks for You on your search, you'll find her. And she's a dyer in Australia. Ships to the US, no problem, and other parts abroad. So that's where I am on Pandemic. Got a long ways to go because it pretty much is going to fill up this piece of fabric. So I'm just way up in the corner. I got a long way to go on this thing. Love it. It's pretty. I think it's going to be gorgeous when it's finished. Whenever I see people finish Long Dogs, I'm like, wow, I am so amazed. I am so impressed. Maybe one day I'll impress somebody and get it done. If nobody else, I'll impress myself that I got it done. It's fun to stitch on. It's just I got so many things to do. So, and this is just in a bag that I made using Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch, her tutorial on how to make a zippered bag. You zipper the plastic in it. And I just, a couple pieces of material, made that bag. Okay, This next one's a whip also. Oh my gosh, how far am I? Over an hour already. This is Blackbird Designs. Winter is past. The winter is past. So I pulled this one out, wanted to work on it some more. Because I had these ideas of like, wouldn't it be nice to have this done by the end of winter? And have it finished? And I think I'm using all the called for. DMs, no, not DMCs. All the called for Weeks Dye Works. And see, I put them on those little plasticky tabs, and now they fit on here so nice, and they're so much more manageable on my ring. So all the called for Weeks Dye Works flosses, cotton floss. And I am stitching it on, what am I stitching at? 28 count Lugana in the color Sand Dollar by Be Stitch Me. And here I am. So I had about half of the top of this done, and I came and I finished the other half of the top. So now I've completed the top of the project. So now underneath here, I have all the motifs and the rest of the border to do, but I've gotten all of the alphabet and the top border finished. Can you see that? The way I'm sitting, I can't see what you guys see. Yeah. I'm like, for all I know, you guys are seeing like a corner of the fabric. So, loving it. I love the fabric. Be Stitch Me has some really pretty fabric. And I love the way the colors are playing on this fabric. It's really coming out really pretty. The colors are just working phenomenally. So again, The Winter is Past by Blackbird Designs. This isn't very big. This one's a smaller sampler. You think I'd get it done? You think I'd get it? I'm half done. Halfway there. So half is better than none. This next one is a whip. Something I've been working on. I started last year. It's by Teresa Kogut, and it's called Dwelling Place. She came out with this one last year. And I fell in love with all the design elements, the colors, everything on this one. I am stitching this one on a 28 count Lugana in the color Not Another Sampler by Be Stitch Me. And it looks like I am using probably all the called for, because there's a lot of DMC, and then I have 2 Classic Colorworks and 2 Weeks Dye Works. Because Teresa Kogut doesn't, she's will use DMCs a lot in her designs. But then she'll put some overdyes in with it, but then she'll also usually give you the conversion to get just DMCs if you want to and not have to get the overdyes. So this is Not Another Sampler by Be Stitch Me that I'm stitching this on. Like I said, love her fabric. I was in her Fabric of the Month club for a year or so, and then I thought I have plenty. I need to get it, stop getting the fabrics of the month. And this is how far I am. What I had done when I picked it up this last time was I had come in and filled in the rest of these stars, did the rest of this border down. And then I had a little bit of this started. So I came in and I finished all of this. I had the bird, but I had most of the vase done and a little bit, I think I had a leaf or something and a start of a flower or something. But I came in and I did all of this in this border here. And I think I did a little bit of the top border too. That different design. Let me hold it up, bring it in closer. Those leaves here, kind of ghost right here. But in person, they show up pretty good because they're a really light gray color. I think they're the same color that's in the center of these stars. But I like them. Sometimes I don't mind some ghosting. It just depends. And as long as I can kind of still see it. I don't like when I can't see it at all. Then it's like, what was the point of me stitching if I can't even see it? Like white on white, unless it's surrounded by other colors. It's kind of like, why? You know, why am I stitching all this white snow that you can't see? Yeah. So I love Teresa Kogut. I love a lot of her designs, as you'll see. I'm surprised that's the first one I'm showing you. Whoops. So that was another whip that I had pulled out to work on. I get all the stuff back in the bag. This next one is a new start. Sorry for the zip. This one is by the Artsy Housewife. This is the first pattern I've gotten from her and started, and it's called Pretty Bird. And I'd seen this one. I'd seen a couple of different people stitching, and I thought, that is really pretty. What an apt name, Pretty Bird, because it's very pretty. Very folks artsy looking. Love it. So I got this one. I had a piece of fabric left over, a piece that I cut off of Winter Woolens by Seraphim Fabrics. And I pulled out all of the DMCs, and I just have them in a bag. They're just DMCs that I had on bobbins in my stash that I had bobbinated. I used to only bobbinate. There wasn't such a thing as floss drops back 30, 40 years ago. Not that I know of. So this is Winter Woolens by Seraphim. Let me make sure I'm going the right way. Yes. And I have the top flower finished. And then I started some of the flowers down the side. Sorry for my dangly thread. Let me get it out of the way there. And that's how far I got. I was working on this. I went to a retreat with some girlfriends in March. 1st of March. And so I was working on this a lot there. And I think when I left the retreat, sometimes I'm in the middle of stitching and it's like, oh, I got to pack up. I got to get ready to hit the road. So, or I get really tired because I'm stitching till 2 in the morning or something. I think one night, my friend Brenda and I, we were up till 3 a.m. talking. One of the ladies woke up and came back out to the craft room and she goes, are you guys okay? I think she was sleepwalking herself. She was like, just walked out like, what are you guys doing out here? Like, we're just talking and hanging out. Before we knew it, it was 3:30 in the morning. So, and then when I get tired like that, I think my thread just ends up hanging there and I don't get any more done. It's just like done, finished. Now this one's a whip also. This one's one that I've been working on for a little while. I think I started it last spring or something. This is by Brenda Gervais and it's called Rejoice Evermore. Love, 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 love this. This is one she came out with, I think, last year. 2022 is when she came out with this one. It was 2022 when I started it. I don't know. Why, yes, it is. I started it New Year's Eve. It was one of my 12 by 12s that I started with Pam and Kia B for the 12 by 12s on New Year's Eve day. So I am stitching this on a piece of Ivory Lugana 28 count. And pretty sure it's all the called for colors. So it was a start, which was an hour start when I was doing 12 new starts for 12 hours of leading up to midnight. I know I didn't get very far when I started this. And I was working on it last year and I pulled it up and I worked on it some this year. And it's on a big piece of fabric, so let me fold it up a little bit. Well, I don't know if it's going to fold up. This is where I am on this piece. So this last time that I picked it up, I came in, I was working down in here. Because I had finished the time before I finished this one. And I can't remember if that was this year or the end of last year. So then I came and I worked down here. And I got this bird done. Down in the bottom there. Isn't he pretty? Oh, so pretty. So that's where I am on Rejoice Evermore. So it goes a little bit farther down. It's as far across as it's going to be. And I am absolutely loving this piece. Kind of thinking it'd be nice to have it done for spring, but maybe next year for spring, maybe. But I only got this bird done. There's still 3 more in a house. And I still need to, I think I got that done, but I still need to do all of this band, bring this down, do all the rest of all of this down in here. So beautiful piece. Love, 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 love. Did I get both of these hearts done? These right here. Did I? Or did I even do them at all yet? Oh, I did. I got the hearts done. Those were eyelets. I think those were eyelet stitches. Yes, they were. Check out. Oh, look at that. Aren't those cute? Like I said, that was my area. Well, it's all puckered up. There you go. That's what I was working on. So I only have this of that middle band so far, but still a ways to go, but I've gotten a good chunk done. I'm happy with that progress so far. I figure, I was watching Narissa from Narissa's Stitching Lifestyle. Narissa's Stitching Life. She's in New Zealand, and she, her saying is, stitch by stitch, it'll get it done. You know, just keep stitching away, and eventually they get done. And that's part of my philosophy on getting them started. They're never going to get done if they don't get started. So if you love them and you like them, you have them in your stash, you have them kitted, why not start them? And for this year, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do the 62 new starts because there's so many things I have in my stash. And a lot of it is kitted or partially kitted. So why not? Why not start them? This next new start was my leap year sow. Start along. And this is something that I started for leap year. I know Chris, the camping stitcher, is doing one for this. And I said, oh, I'd love to join. And it's Little Birds by Blackbird Designs. Because I figure I could get that done in 4 years. It'd probably take me at least 4 years. But I think I could get it done by next leap year if I make sure and I push towards it. Because this is a good size sampler. And that's why I picked that one. Because I thought I don't want to pick one and cheat and do something that so I could get done in a year. So this is how far I am on this one. And this is being stitched on. This is a linen. What is this? Do I have the piece of paper in here? I don't know. What linen is this? I'm trying to remember what I stitched this on. Like I said, a lot of times I'll keep, either I keep the tag or I write it down somewhere. I don't remember what linen this is. Sorry about that. It's probably a 32 count linen. Just don't remember the color, the brand. But I got started on this border. And trying to get some of the bones in so I can get going on, well, I got the alphabet to do up here. And then I can get into some motifs and stuff. So that's where I am. So I need to get a quarter of it done every year. So I'm working on this top quarter. I probably got, you know, this part done of it and some of this border here. I need to get the alphabet in, a few of these motifs, you know, probably get, I don't know, most of the top done. So, and I'm using all the called for overdyed cotton flosses, the Weeks Dye Works, Classic Color Works, etc., etc. I just don't know what, did I put it in here? No. Usually oh wait, yes I did. That was a 32 count linen in the color light mocha. I just put it inside the book, the tab. It was probably falling off my piece of fabric, the sticker. And so I put it inside the book. I know I usually try to keep it. This next one is a whip. This is a Teresa Kogut pattern that came out, I believe, last year sometime. And it is called Remember Me. Might have been last year's market. Maybe. I'm not real sure. Love it. Love the flower border. Love the house. Love the fence and the tree. The whole, oh, I love it. Okay. Did I say I love it? Okay. So I am stitching this one on, instead of like a ivory, you know, looking off-white looking fabric, I am stitching this one on a 28 count Lugana in a color called Under the Mistletoe. And I don't know, I think I picked this one up at Brick City Stitchers in Ocala, Florida, when I was down there one time visiting my mom. And they don't always give you like who the dyer was, but I think they just wrote down Under the Mistletoe. So it's a light green color. And this is how far I am on it. So when I came and I picked it up this time, I had already had these flowers up here done and the top border done, this tree done, and just a little part of the fence behind the tree here. So I came in and I finished the fence, started putting all the bones of the house, and finished, brought all this border stuff down. So that's what I was working on when I pulled this one up last time. Isn't it gorgeous? I love it. And because I am using a green fabric, this flower right here, this one, was left open where it had the red, it had the outline and it had the red parts, but where you see the cream looking color filling in there, that wasn't in there. I just picked the lightest cream color DMC that it's using, because I'm using all DMCs, pretty sure. All right. For the most part. I did substitute in, it looks like, a Gentle Arts and a Victorian Motto for a couple of the colors. Oh yes, the pink colors, because I wanted them, they were very close in color way, the two pinks, and I wanted a little bit more variegation in them. So I picked, because if you notice, see how my pinks are kind of darker and lighter? I wanted to make sure that I had a dark enough and a light enough. But this color here, I filled in myself, because on the chart, I don't know if you can tell by the picture, that is not colored in, stitched in. It's just left because of the background fabric color is already cream colored, you know, white colored. So that's what I did. So what I switched in old brick and make it a Victorian Motto color or something. Well, these were the two called fors, I think. I don't know. Because I have these in the bag. 356. Yeah. So I picked out English foxglove. And why can't I find it in here? I was just stitching with this. Everything. These are my flosses for this one. So I don't always fancy putting on a ring. I think I was just stitching on this one. And actually, when I started this one, I wasn't feeling well when I started this one last year. It's one of the times I had like I don't know, some kind of creepy crud that was making me not feel so good. Here we go. So I switched in these colors for my pinks. The English foxglove and the red old brick. And the foxglove is a Victorian Motto, and this one is a Gentle Arts. So Otherwise, I'm doing the called for colors. And you can see they're DMCs. They're just stuffed down here in this bag because these were the called for. And this is what I switched. This one looked too brown to me. It looked more like a copper color, this one. This DMC, I didn't bring my glasses over here. And these labels on these are so tiny. 3064. So I wanted something pinker. So I picked Old Brick. And then I switched, because see, this has kind of got an orangey tone to it. And I wanted a little bit more pink. So those were the only two I switched. The rest was all of the called for DMCs. So sometimes to know what I was doing, I copy it, and then when I can see that I scribbled something out and I wrote something, those are my switches. That's where I changed from the called for. But loving it, under the mistletoe fabric. Green instead of off-white. Sometimes I like color, you know, put a color on instead of, you know, everything on tan or white or whatever. So sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes I'll switch and put it on a blue or a green or a pink. Okay. Oh, pile's going down. We're getting there. We're getting there, people. If you've hung in here this long with me, you know my videos just seem to go on forever. Sorry. But this is 3 months worth of stitching. Okay, this one was a new start, and this was a market piece that I couldn't wait to start. So I started it without showing you guys my new market piece that I ordered 3 pieces, pre-ordered 3 market pieces. And one is Teresa Koket's Serenity. Just watching the Sable Stitchers, and Lenny started this. I just was watching them this morning. I was like, oh, Lenny, I'm doing that one too. If you're watching this, Lenny, I'm doing it too. So Serenity by Teresa Koget. This one was my top #1 pick. I just loved everything about it. The only thing I'm not super thrilled about, but they're okay, were the butterflies up in the corner. They're just kind of, the colors are kind of meh and stuff. But then I'm thinking, no, they're just supposed to blend in with the border. The rest of it, I love. The deer, the birds, the house. I love all of it. Little bunnies. I am doing, is it all the called for on this one? When they're longer, they're DMC because I did the loop start method because I used 2 threads. And then the overdyes, I use 2 separate threads and don't do the loop start. So they're half the length usually, my overdyes, than my DMC. That's how I can tell immediately when it's a DMC. So I have the Weeks Dye Works and the Classic Color Works, and then these are all my DMCs. The only thing I'm switching on this one, I am switching one thing. The white parts, these little star flowers, and then where the flowers are white here, this white color is, where's my sheet? It is ecru, and I've switched in Wild Oats. Let me get it here. By Classic Color Works. This Wild Oats. Because I didn't want white, stark white, because these colors are kind of muted. As you can see, they're muted tans, grays, you know, greens. So I didn't want to go with anything super bright, but I wanted something whiter than ecru. This ecru was going to match my fabric too closely, and then it wasn't going to show up at all. So I switched to Wild Oats, just to have something a little whiter without being white. So this is how far I am. This is on platinum, 32 count platinum Lugana. And that's where I am. So see, I've done these in the wild oats right here. And I finished this butterfly. I did this one. Got one more in the other corner. You see what I mean about just the muted colors? But I think then it just will kind of blend into the border and not take away from the rest of it. So I was fine with it. And then this up here, I had this much farther along. And I boo-booed by 1 stitch. And that 1 stitch on this vine, because this vine is kind of broken up by all the leaves and the berries. So I was trying to come in and just kind of do the vine across. And I counted off 1 stitch on this one here. And what it ended up doing, where you can see this berry here that's hanging really low, is 1 stitch away from the border. That's how it's supposed to be. But because I was 1 stitch off here, when I would have got to that berry, it'd be touching the border. And I thought, well, that's going to mess up my whole border all the way across. You know, unless I just go ahead and flub it and, you know, try to do the other ones the height that they're supposed to be, you know, and don't count off of this one that I made a boo-boo on. But I went ahead and took them out. I had them across to here and I just took it out. So I got to start that over again. But I got the top part of the basket here. There's a part that I think is satin stitched, and then there's the base part of the basket I still have to do. And then all of these big, I guess they're berries. And there's a beautiful bird sitting on top of it. It looks like a robin. So it's very springy looking to me, this piece. So this robin that sits on top, I can't wait to get to him. Isn't he cute? And then that middle robin, the bigger one at the top. Just all of it. It's gorgeous. I love this piece. Pretty, pretty, pretty. So that's my upper left-hand start on this one. And like even with switching to the wild oats color, it's faded in, but you can still see it. Up close, you can see it much better. But even from far away, you can see it. It's just very ghosted. But I can see it in person better. I haven't done the middle. There's a middle color in these that I still need to do. But that is Serenity by Teresa Kogut. So that's another new start. I started this one a couple of weeks ago, not long after I got it in. And I placed my pre-market order with Top Knot Stitcher Abby online, and she's really good. She's quick and very good customer service. I vouch for her. She did a good job. This next piece I did maybe about 2 weeks ago. I just did a day trip. I said, you know what? Gorgeous day. I don't have anything planned. I'm not doing anything in particular. And I just got a wild hair and decided I wanted to go to Liberty Hill Needleworks that opened in Williamsburg. I think they opened in November. And I hadn't been there yet. They're about an hour and a half away for me. So I thought, you know what? Jump in the car, drive down there. It was a beautiful drive. It was a gorgeous day. And one of the pieces that I picked up while I was there, and of course I've already started it, I'm going to tell you, if you live anywhere close to the Williamsburg, Virginia area, and you want to be able to look at some fabric and maybe purchase some fabric, you're on the hunt for some, at least when I was there a couple of weeks ago, she had lots of fabric. She already had a wall of fabric, things hanging on the wall, but then she had gone to market, and she had at least, I think there were 3 folding tables, and one of the folding tables was a really long, like 8-foot folding table, and a couple other folding tables full of all of the fabric she had picked up at market. So she had tables full and she had a wall full. So if you're looking for fabric and you're in that area, anywhere close, go check her out. Liberty Hill Needleworks in Williamsburg, Virginia. So while I was there, I went ahead and got this piece right here. Autumn Lane Stitcheries, Tonight We Ride. And I wanted a piece of fabric that was very much like this. So I was looking at the fabrics that she had in her store. I couldn't find anything this orange, this bright, but I found a piece that I love, and I think it's going to work fine for this piece, working really great. So I started this one and I worked on it a few days, few evenings. And the piece of fabric that I found is by Seraphim, 28 count rustic charm. And my start is this the right side? I always end up showing you guys the back. And here you go. I got the first witch in and started the moon. So this is true to color back here. And I think it's going to work. It's not as bright orange as the called for, which I think is a Bee Stitch Me fabric. What did they stitch this one on? Because like I said, mine's Seraphim Rustic Charm. But this one was stitched on Bee Stitch Me. I know it was a Bee Stitch Me fabric. Where did I see it? Wait, it says Tonight We Fly. That's so weird. Inside it says Tonight We Fly. Outside on the cover it says Tonight We Ride. So I don't know which title is the right title. But it's Autumn Lane Stitchery. Oh man, what is the called for? Of course I don't have my glasses on. Oh, Pumpkin Patch by Bee Stitch Me. But this is Rustic Charm by Seraphim. And it'll fit on a, this is 28 count. It'll fit on a fat quarter. So that's where I am on, oh my back, sorry. That's another reason I didn't do a video for a little while. I've been having back issues for like a month. And it's not like I'm sitting on this couch this long. Oh. Like I said, turning 62 in a couple of weeks. My body's falling apart. What do you want back up here? What are you guys barking at, huh? What's going on? Come here. Come here. This one. This is my little troublemaker. That's my little lovey bunch, right? Oh, yeah. Okay. What do I got? Two more. One's a whip and one's a start. So we're getting there. Okay. Oh, now they're starting to, the pile is starting to slide on this side. Okay, this one was a whip. And I took the dogs to the groomers last week. And so I have to go, I go to where I used to live. She was a neighbor of mine and she grooms my dogs for me. She works for groomers and then she does it in her house also. And since this one here she doesn't like to be around a lot of other people and animals and stuff. I don't know why. I don't know what her issue is, but she gets anxiety. She also gets separation anxiety and things like that. She's kind of high strung. So she grooms my dogs for me in her house and then they don't have to be out and about with a bunch of people, and she knows her very well. So I sit in the car because I don't want to drive half an hour there, half an hour back to go get them. So I just sit in the car. And so I usually stitch, and I picked up this one that I had started last year, and it's called Hive Rules by Primrose Cottage Stitches. And I'm doing the whole thing. Some people take and you can break it up into sections and do a bunch of smalls with it. But I'm doing the whole thing. And I had started this last year. And so I pulled it up and I thought, I'm going to work on this some more. And this is just on a piece of antique white, 28 count, I believe, Lugana. And I came and I finished the word sweet and this little honey dipper. And the word like. I finished the bee. I don't know. I think that's all I got done. That's it. Because it takes her about 2 hours to do both dogs. But I also eat lunch also. Stop and eat lunch. Because I think I dropped them off around 11 o'clock. And then she has them till about 1. So I eat lunch and I stitch. So. And I watch Flosstube videos on my phone. While I'm in the car. Oh, where my bag went for this one. those over there nicely, hopefully. And the last piece is a new start. Is that scaring you? I'm sorry. This is a Teresa Kogut. This was another market piece that I had purchased. And it's called And God Saw by Teresa Kogut. And yeah, you can't lay over there. I have all my stuff, baby. So I started this one as my Easter start. Hold on. I'm just trying to jump up on my craft chair. Really, my back is starting to not like this couch. I'm almost done though. I started this as my Easter start for this year. So yesterday. And I am stitching this one on a piece of Bestitch Me One More Reproduction 28 count Lagana. I picked this up at the Liberty Hill Needleworks in Williamsburg. This was another piece of fabric I picked up while I was there. So I got the one for Tonight We Ride and for this piece. And I think I got one more piece. I think I did. And here's where I am. I started in the upper left-hand corner. So I got the one flower done and I was getting some of the border and everything in. Because then I can get over and do this fun little bird right here. That one. And this is just a nice checkerboard thing. That'll be easy to do at like a retreat. And I do have a retreat coming up this month that I want to go, maybe have some easy stitching to do. So I started this yesterday and I worked on it this morning. I was working on finishing up doing this part because I only had it partly done. And I thought I'd really like to have the rest of that done before I do my video. So I did... I worked on that one yesterday, and so that was it. That's all of my whips and new starts that I've been working on the past 3 months. And like I said, that's about 28 things. One thing finished and 27 more to go out of all of that stuff. So the next thing that I wanted to go over on my cross stitch stuff was a couple of planned starts that I have. And one is something that I want to start today because I think I might take this to my retreat this month to Ocean City, maybe. And this is Comfort Lighthouse by Kathy Barrick, or the Carriage House Samplings. So it might be Marty Barrick. It's either Kathy or Marty. They're sisters. And I wanted to get this one started and maybe take this because Ocean City, Maryland is known for their blue crabs, the Maryland crabs. And so I thought, oh, look at this. Wouldn't this be perfect to work on in Ocean City? Look at that. Perfect. So I want to start that one today, later today when I get finished here. And then the next planned start for this month that I know I've got is my birthday is April 17th. It's coming up. And I had decided that there was a viewer of my channel, a friend of my channel. Her name is Maria. And she had this piece. And I said, she shares the same birthday. Not the same year. I'm sure she's younger than me. But her birthday's April 17th also. And she said, we decided that we are going to start seeking refuge together on April 17th for our birthdays. If anybody else would like to start along with us, we're going to start this on April 17th. So if you have this in your stash and you'd like to get a start on it, or you want to work on it some on April 17th, wouldn't that be fun? So I'm going to, this is a planned start. I just got all of my flosses ready for it. A few DMCs and some overdyes. And I'm going to stitch mine on a piece of Embellish, 28 count Lugana in the color Embellish by Atomic Ranch. So it's just kind of a light tanny colored piece. It looks very close to that piece. So I thought that would work really good. So I'm going to start that piece on April 17th for our birthday. That's going to be our birthday start. And then I showed you that I had started the 2 Teresa Kogut, the Serenity and God Saw, that I had picked up as my pre-market pieces. And there was a third piece. I picked 3 pieces to pre-order from market. And the other one was a Plum Street sampler, and it's American Welcome. I have Live on Little that I still need to get a lot more work done on. But this one looks like a sister piece to it. So I haven't started it yet because I just feel bad starting. I might still start it, who knows, and just work on both of them together. But I already have Live on Little started, that I started last year. But this one, I love, 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 and was looking forward to that one coming out. So I did order that one. And those were my 3 pre-order market pieces that I ordered. Then I have a little bit more haul I can show you of a couple of things that I've ordered in the last couple of months. And then I'm going to go into my knitting real quick because we're almost at 2 hours. I'm sorry. I hope this uploads because I'm going to be upset if it doesn't because it's so big. When I was at Liberty Hill Needleworks and I got the Tonight We Ride and the couple pieces of fabric, I also picked up this by Brenda Gervais because I had done that Be Mine Always Valentine piece. That was my first Valentine piece to have. I don't have anything Valentine's to decorate my house in February. So I got these because I thought if I start trying to at least get one of these done every year, I could have a little bowl, a little trench. I actually have a wooden trench bowl thing that I can put out and put smalls in, but I need to stitch smalls and finish them to put them in the trench thing. So I thought, let me get that, and then that would be cute to have up in February. So I got this one. And then I placed an order with Hobby House Needleworks for, I told you I sit over there and work on my larger pieces when they're in the 11 by 17 Q snaps, the really large pieces. I work on them with my Lowry floor stand over here in my craft room over in the corner. But I only had the shorter, the floor stand comes up and then it has a piece that comes out like an L, and you would attach the clamp to it because it kind of is a side mounted floor stand. It doesn't sit in front of you. It kind of sits to the side and you swing over your piece and it gets in front of you and then you stitch on it and then you could swing it to the side. Mine, I keep a weight on it and it's under one of my chair legs so that it doesn't fall over when you swing it to the side because it is kind of lightweight. It's not really weighted real heavy. It's all metal. But I wanted to have a longer bar so that when I am working on pieces, sometimes I'm way over to the right side and then I'm leaning over trying to stitch on it. And so I thought, Hobby House Needleworks had it. And I thought, okay, let me pick up the longer bar. But while I'm there, because, I can't just get that, I wanted to get a couple of patterns while I was there because they had, and I couldn't find this one. I've been looking for it. And I think it's a Brenda Gervais, so she probably has it on her website, but I couldn't find it in the stores. But Hobby House had it. And it's the Gratitude, Grateful, Thankful, and Blessed. So I like that. I ordered that when I ordered that that bar to come in the mail. And I also ordered this one, which I couldn't find in the stores either. And this is another Brenda Gervais. And it's the pink sparrow sampler. And I've been seeing people working on this. I saw Lauren, the New Hampshire stitcher, had finished hers a little while back, probably a couple months ago. Beautiful, beautiful piece. And I've seen somebody else just recently started this one. So love it, and wanted to get that. So I went ahead and ordered those when I got the piece for my Lowry stand. And then I think I ordered all of these on 123 Stitch. I saw, when I was watching Brenda Handwork Maniacs showing her stuff back in January, she's trying to stitch all of these houses. She had Santa's house, and she had it pretty much done, most of the way done at that point, I believe. And it was looking really pretty. And I saw a couple other people on Instagram and stuff stitching on this also. And so I thought, I really like that Santa's house. So I want to get that. I don't think I'm going to do, I'm not doing the whole series, but I'm getting the houses that I like. And I really liked this one. And then when they came out with number 2, I said, I don't know, I really like number 2. So am I going to get the whole series? But I think 3 and 4 I can pass on. I think one is a greenhouse, and I can't remember what the other one is. And this one's the castle. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's pretty too. So I got both of these. And I already have a piece of fabric I set aside to maybe do castle on. This gray fabric. What is this? 32 count Lugana in the color Silvery Moon. It was like a smaller piece cut off of a bigger piece. So I'm going to head and put it in there to maybe go with that one. And then I was still in the Christmas mode when I placed this order. So I got this Crocetta Ogogo. I got Babu Natali 2023. Isn't he cute? With the snowman. He's a cute Santa. And then this was just adorable. Cherry Hill Stitchery, Rudolph's Reindeer Games. Isn't that cute? So I picked that up. So that's haul that I'm trying to be really good and not buy a whole lot of stuff because I got enough. I mean, I know a lot of us can say that, but really, I need to rein it in and not buy a million things because I'll never get it all finished. So, that's it for the stitching. That's everything I have for stitching. That's a couple of planned starts for the month. That's my little bit of haul, and that is everything I've been stitching on for the last 3 months. Now, so I told you at the beginning that I had also been starting to get into knitting. So I'm going to show you, I've got 4 knitting things that I started since January. The first thing I did in January, so if you guys are skipping out because you're not interested in knitting, bye. Thank you for hanging in this long, and thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot of stitching done. Had an enjoyable last couple of hours. If you were able to sit and watch this all, I have ladies comment. Sometimes people comment, say, I had to watch you in segments. I didn't have 2 hours to sit and watch you the whole time. So, but I hope to be back. Hopefully, I want to try to do a video every month and show you what I did the previous month. So like come back in the beginning of May or the very end of April and show you what I did in April, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's the plan. But sometimes I don't always, we'll have to see how that goes. But that is the plan. So now I'm going to move on into knitting. The first class that I took, there's a local yarn shop here that does classes. And so I thought, let me take a class so I can learn how to really knit. And so I took a Basic Stitches Cowl class in January. And I think that went till like the middle of February. There were like 4 sessions, like every other week. And so I did this cowl. So I do have a finish on my piece. So we learned how to do the cable stitch and this has not been, what's it called? When you stretch it out. I can't think of the name. When you finish it and you wash it and you shape it, that hasn't been done. But we learned, like the knit togethers and things like that. So to do a lacy pattern, to do the cable pattern. I'd never done a cable before. So there's my cables. And blocking, that's what it's called. So I showed my husband, he was like, I said, you're supposed to wear it like a coat or something. Ding dong. But there's my cowl. I like it. He just kind of looked at me like I was weird, but I like it. So there you go. So I got this finished and I'm proud of it. I think it looks fabulous for my first professional, finally learning how to knit class. And then I took a second class and I forgot what yarn this is. I didn't bring out the yarn. Shoot. I'm new to showing knitting, so. But it is a superwash wool of some sort. Okay, that they had in the shop. Then this next piece, because then I thought, okay, they have display models in their store. And then if they're a class, they have a tag on them that says, I'm a class. And they had this wrap. It's a really big, it's called the First Encounter wrap. And it's a very new pattern. In fact, she hasn't put the pattern out there yet to purchase. The designer of it is Peg Landon, and she's also teaching the class. And it's called the First Encounter wrap. So it's big. It's like a half blanket. It's huge. So it's like you could just wrap up in it and cozy up in it to wrap yourself up. And it had a lot of different kind of stitches, lots of techniques in it. So I thought, but it wasn't anything too hard. It wasn't anything that I was like, okay, I'm just an intermediate here. I'm just learning, did my first cables for the first time. I know how to knit and I know how to purl, and I can pretty much read a knitting pattern for the most part, but I'm not super adept, but I could do this because that's all it says is you need to know how to knit and purl and cast on, and basically that's it. So here is, and this is going to be really hard to show, and my back really is kind of not wanting to be nice right now. So here's the end, and it wants to curl up right now until it's blocked. So there is lots of different stitches in here. I found it very interesting. As I went to each different section, you know, you learn different things. Like, I love this one here. When I saw the design, I said, how am I going to be able to do that? That looks intense, but it really isn't. Love it. Love all of the different, like the knit togethers to make, you know, more lacy. And when this is blocked, you're going to really be able to see the patterns going on in here. Then she does what she calls textured. That's where you do maybe all purl or knit stitches, some more eyelets. This one was a cable. So I learned, you know, to do a cable and a double cable because we had single cables and a double cable, you know, just all the way across. Another lacy part right here. And now I'm working on, it looks like color work, but I'm basically just switching colors every 2 rows here. So it's not real color work, but kind of looks like it. So this is just to show my front, which side's my front, which side is my back. So I am probably 2/3 of the way through this wrap because eventually it's gonna, and I really can't show it all because it is already probably, I don't know, 4 feet long. But we're learning a bunch of different techniques. And I am using several different wools and wool blends for this one. I picked different ones they had in the shop. I'm trying to reach without hurting my back. So some of them are the ultra wool, you know, so it's just different ones. So that is another project I've been working on. I finished the cowl. So I have 1 knit finish and 1 cross stitch finish. Been working on this wrap. So I'm learning a lot in that class. So it's making me feel a lot better because I started a very simple vest that I'm starting on my own. So I got this off of Ravelry, and let me see. Oh, I can do this without showing the pattern. And it looks like that. It's basically just a stockinette stitch, you know. So I thought, oh, and it's by Plymouth. Got it off of Ravelry, Plymouth Yarn Company, pattern number 3296. And it's called a women's open vest. And so I picked up this yarn, the Spree by Barocco. And it's a wool and cotton blend. It's 56% wool, 44% cotton. And it is a DK weight, I think. I'm pretty sure it needed a DK weight. So I'm working with that. And I picked it up in different colors because I couldn't find in the shop. And in order to do this, I'm doing this vest with, it's kind of a stitch on your own, but stitched together once a month at the shop, at the knit shop, to do anybody, you can work on any vest that you want. So I picked this one, and but they said, but please buy the yarn in our shop because we're a small business, and I'm all about supporting small local business. So I just got a little start on this one, but the colors I picked, because I couldn't get the variegated yarn in a DK that I liked. So I am doing, I picked up 4 different colors. Oops. A cream, a tan, a gray, and kind of a denim blue. So I'm doing my vest in these colors. So I'm kind of trying to maybe stripe it a little bit. Here we go. So, and this is how far I am. I got the bottom. This is going to be one of the front pieces. So the bottom is 1 inch of garter stitch, and then you do the stockinette. And that's all. That's as far as I am on this piece so far. So there's not much to look at. But that is my knitting that I've been doing lately. So finished a cowl. Got a long way on that wrap, and I started a vest. Oh, and one more thing. What really got me in, I've been wanting to really get into stitching and starting to stitch more than just like a straight plain old scarf in knit or purl. Was when I first started watching Flosstube, I was watching, and I still do watch her, X Stitch MD, Shiloh. She's up in Nova Scotia, Canada. Alberta, I can't remember. She's up in Canada. And she also knits. And she was showing all these socks back, a couple of years ago on her channel. She was doing socks all the time. And she does scarves, these beautiful scarves and things like that. And I thought, I really want to start learning how to knit socks. So I found on YouTube a knitter. She's called Crazy Sock Lady. And she knits a lot of socks, but she knits other things also, sweaters and scarves and all of that kind of stuff. Gotta reach down here and get it. But she has a vanilla sock pattern that she shows on her YouTube. And the way she explains it looks so super easy, because I can't just read a pattern when I'm learning something. I also need somebody to kind of show me. So it's kind of like taking a class. And so I downloaded her pattern off of Ravelry, $2 to get the vanilla sock pattern by Crazy Sock Lady, and then look her up on YouTube, and she also shows you how to make the sock. So I casted on my first sock. So here's the cuff, and I think I need to go about 5 more rows, and I'll start the heel flap. So I'll start working on the foot of the sock, but this is the leg of the sock. And this is, I picked this up when I was coming back from Williamsburg, Virginia. I stopped off in Ashland, Virginia on my way home. There is a yarn shop called Center of the Yarniverse. And I picked up, this was one of the sock yarns I picked up there. Super Socks by Lang. And so it looks like this, and it stitches up like this. So I only want to do one right now. I want to get this one finished so I can put it on and make sure that it fits right, because I was going by her directions on how to measure your foot. And by the measurements, it says I need to make a small sock, small adult. So I thought, okay, but is it going to be too tight? Is it going to stretch enough? I don't want to be too big and be a slouchy sock and always falling down into my shoe if I decided to wear it with shoes. So this one is a size small. And then I'm going to finish it and see how it fits, because you can always tweak a pattern to fit you better. So I'm going by her directions for a small, and knitting this one up. So I got a sock started, got a cowl finished, got a wrap going, got a vest started. So those are my knitting projects. So I got 4 knitting things going. Got 3 going right now. Finished the 1. So that's also what I've been up to crafting wise. Haven't done a lot of diamond painting. My mom's getting ready to come here. We've been getting her house ready, doing things to help them get situated so that they can just get moved in. They're getting the carpets replaced. There's a really bad stain on the downstairs carpet. Like, it looks like the people wore their shoes in the house, and then where they sat at the couch, it's just a big, huge black smudge, like huge. And the carpet, it looks like they tried to clean it, and it's the people who used to live there, and it's just not going to come out. So we've arranged, we went and had them measuring for the flooring, and then because their house they're moving in is only 3 blocks from me. I can't wait. She lives down in Florida, and I'd love to have her closer. She's trying to finish up a lot of things that she needs to do for doctor's office visits and things like that, and get things situated where she can just roll into her cardiologist and stuff here. We had the floors all measured. They picked out what flooring they wanted, and then I've gone over there while the guy measured, and then we got to set up a date for them to install. So that'll be a day I'll probably just be sitting over there stitching or something while they're installing flooring, but that hasn't been set up yet. So I've been kind of busy with that, kind of doing stuff there, and things, but they're supposed to be moving in soon, trying to get all this situated so that they can get in. And then for diamond painting, that's where I was going. My mom loves to diamond paint, so I might start diamond painting more when she gets here, because I have some diamond painting kits from Diamond Art Club. I've shown you in the past a couple that I have finished. Well, I've finished, I don't know, I think I've finished 8 or 9 diamond paintings. And I have a handful of them framed, and I put them up around the house. I'm looking because I have one over here in the craft room, and I have one in the downstairs bathroom, one's in my husband's office, one's by the coffee service. I do have diamond paintings in the house also. So I might get more into diamond painting when she comes, because it'll be something her and I can do together. So, and then she's interested in learning stitching. So we'll see. We'll see if she gets the cross stitch bug and starts stitching with me. So this video is over 2 hours long. So I need to get out of here. I need to get this mess picked up, but I think I need to sit on the heating pad for my back for a little while. That's kind of been what I've been doing, but at least I can stitch. I can stitch and knit while I sit on a heating pad and an ice pack. So, and that's what I've been spending a lot of time doing this past month. I don't know what's going on with my back. So I wish you guys a lot of happy stitching time. Planning on coming back, like I said, in a month. I hope to not be gone 3 months again and have basically a mini whip parade to show you guys. Because that's what did I count? 28 things that I had to show you guys on stitching. So hopefully I can get back more often and not be away so long. And I don't know. I think that's it. I have such a hard time saying. I was just watching somebody the other day that said they have such a hard time like saying goodbye, getting to the end. And it's like, that's true. It's easy when you're talking about your stitching, because you're like, okay, this, you know, and then you get to the end and you're like, and I start jibber jabbering and talking about everything. So, but I think I'm looking at my notes. Everything's been covered that I wrote down on my notes. I usually always forget something, but I wish you guys well. I wish you guys a lot of happy stitching time. And until the next time, you guys, do what you love, stitch what you love. Love you guys. Bye-bye.